Is your current branding more than 3 years old? If it is, stick around, watch this video. Hi there, it's Emma from Bespoke Backdrops and Branding. Why should it matter if your branding is 3 years old or more? I'll tell you why. Because just like in politics, a week is a long time in politics, a year is a long time in business, and 3 years is almost an eternity. It's a generation in your business. And if your branding is 3 years old, the chances are that it's not working for you quite so efficiently anymore. And the reason is this, is because in those 3 years since you had your last branding done, your business has definitely changed. You are not doing exactly the same as you did 3 years ago. Your product might have changed, your service might have changed, the clientele, the people that you service and the people that pay you might have changed. Your goals might have changed, your positioning in the market might have changed. Slowly, everything might have changed. You might not have said, gosh, in the last 3 years, my business has changed completely, but there would have been incremental developments along the way. So all of a sudden, the branding, the logo, the colors, the vibe, the feel, the intention that was set for that brand when it was designed and built for you 3 years ago, no longer actually matches up and marries with what you're doing today. So that's when you really need to think about a rebrand. Now, do you need to think about a complete, scrap it all, start it again, or are we just looking at a refresh? Now, there's certain things that you need to pay attention to and sort of little clues as to whether you need a complete start again or just a refresh. So if you need a complete rebrand, again, you've had the logos and your branding for 2 to 3 years, but your goals have completely changed, your business has changed, you might have moved marketplaces, you might have moved not just marketplaces, but also price points as well. All of a sudden, the look and feel of your brand from that price point you had 3 years ago, which worked really well probably 3 years ago, probably doesn't work so well anymore for the more high-end price point that you might be charging. So that's when you really need to look again at who your clients are, what market do you service now, who your competition is, what other things in your industry do your potential clients have access to, who else is in the space that you're in, and what do you need to do to step up into that space. That's when you need to complete rebrand from scratch. You might have completely changed your product and service, so all of a sudden everything that goes with your logo doesn't fit with what you're offering anymore. Again, you need a complete rebrand. Also, I would suggest if you've been using a DIY brand for the last 2 to 3 years, that you've just sort of cobbled together on Canva, or even had someone on Fiverr do. I would call that a DIY brand, even though you paid someone. If you got it from Fiverr or any kind of those aggregated marketplaces where you get things for like $20, $30, I would call that DIY, really, because the designer that created that for you didn't really understand your business, didn't really know, what your goal and your vision was. So that's when you need a complete rebrand. So secondly, what if you don't need a complete rebrand? What if it's just a refresh? What are the parameters for having a refresh? Well, again, you've had the same brand for 2 and 3 years. It needs to be refreshed. It's looking tired. It's no longer relevant, probably stylistically. Things, graphic design wise, style wise, things might have changed in those 2 to 3 years. And your brand might start to have, might be looking a little bit dated. But in fact, if you think about it and you go back to who you're serving, what your core product and service is, and your price point and your marketplace and your industry, you might not have changed anything. You might actually be doing exactly the same as you were 2 to 3 years ago, give or take a few tweaks here and there. So you've actually built probably quite a bit of brand equity in the look and feel of your brand. People recognize it. They know it's you. So you don't want to scrap all of that, because all of a sudden people might not recognize you. You lose all that delicious, beautiful brand equity that you've built up in the last 2 or 3 years. So what you need to do is you need to pick out the essence of that brand. Pick out the essence of what people remember you for, what people recognize you for, and take that essence and then redevelop it into a new brand. So it's a new brand, but there's some link, there's some thread that flows through from the old brand. So when you do relaunch or you start using your new branding, it's not a completely different look. People still will have that emotional connection with you. So those are my points on rebranding entirely, scrapping again, or just refreshing. So I hope this has helped you. If it has, I would love you to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to come up with lots of videos helping you in your business, with your visuals, with your branding. I'm going to be talking about running a small creative business, which I've been doing for 20 years. And you'll get to know me personally in my business life and my personal life. So do hit subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next